Now, national security and defence have dominated this election campaign, particularly our relationship with China after the Solomon Islands signed that security pact with Beijing. Compass Polling has been speaking with voters, finding out which party they think would do a better job in standing up to China. And the results on that question, I think, are quite surprising. Let's catch up again with Laura Thomas, Head of Communications for Compass Polling. She joins me from Sydney. Thanks for talking to us again, Laura. This is an interesting survey because I think this has been a big issue. Sure, the Solomon Islands deal was a setback for Australia's foreign policy, embarrassing for the government. But I thought it might play to one of the government's strengths in standing up to China. But you find that actually Labor does even better on this issue.
Yeah, Chris, it's, I guess in a way, a surprising result. But if you look at it kind of clearly, it's actually just split on party lines. So the results you've got here, even though you've got a small majority to Labor there overall, the parties are split here. So voters think their own party is going to be the best party to deal with defence and national security issues. I think what it shows is that despite the fact that the coalition's gone very hard on this issue, is they've gone hard on China, it has shored up their base for them, but it hasn't actually won them any new voters. So that's something to be aware of. Where this is actually interesting, I think, Chris, is when you look at age.
Yep.
So you might notice
younger
actually
people.
It's the younger voters. Yeah, that's right. Younger voters are leaning more toward Labor as a majority, and your over 55s are leaning more toward the coalition.
But that would be the case in their voting intention as well as the position on China, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's whoever's aligned themselves with those parties, so who votes for which party. So you've got younger coalition voters who would actually prefer Labor on the issue of national security and defence.
Well, there you go. That's it. Young, but perhaps not so wise. I want to have a look at this other question you looked at on superannuation, because that plays into this big issue, the competing first homeowner policies of the two major parties. And you've asked, should Australians be given more freedom to invest their superannuation savings as they see fit? And 71% of the respondents say yes. People want more power over their own money, their own savings, their own investments. So that's perhaps not surprising, although very encouraging. And then you go to this other question, which is, which do you consider more important in preparing for your environment? That is owning or paying off your home, 70%, and building your superannuation balance, 30%. Again, I don't think that's surprising, but it goes to show that why that coalition policy would be so popular, because it allows people to make an investment decision with their own money, and it allows them to get a head start on the housing part of their investment, which they see as a priority over super.
Yeah, well, I think when you think about the fact that this policy of having mandatory super was a Labor policy brought under Keating in 1992. So Labor's, this is sort of their baby in a sense, and they've got a vested interest as well, Chris, in regards to the trade unions, because we know that around half of super funds are industry funds, and they make a pretty penny. But what I think these results show is that Labor's actually out of step with their own voter base. 67% of Labor voters would actually like more control over their own super. So that's fairly telling.
That is telling indeed, and a lot of them would be young people who want to use their super to get into the housing market too. Thanks so much for joining us, Laura. Fascinating stuff.
Exactly right.
Laura Thomas there from Compass Polling. I say it's our money. We should be able to use it wisely.